Brought to you by Gamezy. Win up to rupees 5 crores every day. Download the app now.
Alright, Kolkata Knight Riders, the last time they missed out on their third IPL title before they actually ran into an inspired Chennai Super Kings and lost out.
Before that, they were inspired to
Yes,
come from bottom of the
exactly.
table in the second half, reach the
Exactly,
final.
they were on the brink of failing to qualify, but eventually the second half of the season was incredible and majorly because of an unknown, a relatively unknown entity that was Venkatesh Iyer and what he did. Well, we all know, and he got an opportunity to play for India also on the basis of his performance in the IPL. But today, as you already know, what we've been doing in this particular series is we are going to analyze the weaknesses. We've discussed the strengths of all the teams. We've discussed the playing 11, the best possible playing 11 of all the 10 franchises, and today we are going to talk about Kolkata Knight Riders. I'm joined by Nikhil Naz, who's going to help me out. In fact, I have a few questions, a few worrying factors for Kolkata Knight Riders, although trust me Nikhil, it was a little difficult job for me to find out weaknesses in this Kolkata Knight Riders. I'm being very honest, maybe I don't know whether it is a good thing or a matter of concern, because eventually what happens we'll see. But I'm going to read out a few names.
Before you ask me the question, I want some insight. And for that, we've got our cricket analyst in Sunny Gavaskar. Let's listen into what he has to say, and then I'll borrow a few things and answer your questions.
Well, look at the way Kolkata Knight Riders recovered from the first half of last year's tournament, which was played in India. They were almost at the bottom of the table, but then when the tournament was played in UAE, the second half, they came back. They won just about every single game. They got to the finals as well, which was a close affair, and so they've started to make that comeback, and with a new captain, a captain who wants to show not just his batting skills but his leadership skills. Don't be surprised if this time around they won't stumble in the finals.
So Sunny Bhai thinks it's a good-looking team.
Actually. And to be very honest, to find out those loopholes or weaknesses, to ask you these questions, it was a difficult task for me too.
Why?
I'll let you answer these questions and you'll get your why. Sam Billings, Andre Russell, Russell Narine and Pat Cummins. If you make the 11, the best possible 11 for Kolkata Knight Riders, I'm sure these are the four guys, the four foreigners you'll have in your team.
Yeah, I think so.
Isn't there too much dependency on their foreign players?
There is, but I'm going to look at it differently. What I think is that they have good enough Indian players, like Shivam Mavi had a good IPL, Varun Chakravarti had a good IPL. Umesh Yadav, we'll have to wait and watch. He can go either ways. Then Sheldon Jackson. Who makes the team. So I'm talking about Indian talent. There is good enough Indian. Nitish Rana had a good IPL. Shreyas Iyer is there in red hot form. And Venkatesh Iyer again who had a great IPL. So I don't think they're overly dependent on foreigners because their Indian talent is good. Having said that, I think the form of that overseas players is going to really be very, very crucial, because I have my doubt with them because Sam Billings, we don't know. Then even if Aaron Finch doesn't play, again, he's not been on fire with the bat, so not too sure. Pat Cummins has been in good form, but I want to see how he goes in white ball cricket and not so much red ball. And Andre Russell, injury prone, didn't have a great IPL last time around, again looking at his lofty standards. So I don't know. Russell Narine again had a good IPL, I agree, but mostly now as a bowler, and you were playing in UAE at the time.
Is he the same bowler that he used
I thought he was not, but then he surprised me last season. He reinvented himself and looked very good last season. But I think that also had a lot to do with the nature of the pitches there in UAE. You won't get that.
He was reported last season or last
to last season. Yeah.
And at times, but after that, the way he came back.
That's what surprised me.
Exactly.
I didn't think he was the same bowler. So, yes, their form is going to be very crucial because they're big names.
Full sleeves.
Everybody bowls with full sleeves now.
No, but at times it does affect your confidence.
Yes.
It affects your confidence. Okay.
Ashwin is a rarity.
Ashwin is a rarity.
Bowling with half
yes.
sleeves. Yeah.
But now, second question. They don't have a settled opening combination. They have options. I
Yes,
agree, they
I
have
agree.
options.
In fact, when I was making the team, I was struggling to find an opener with Venkatesh Iyer.
Yes.
You could look at a Sam Billings, but that's not necessarily his spot.
Yes.
For Delhi, I think he came in at number 4 or
Right.
so.
Even for his own team, Australia also, he bats low.
Then you
down
have
there.
Aaron Finch, who you can, but again, not in red hot form.
Exactly.
I think he's downhill as far as his
But
career
we
is
judge
concerned.
his form on the basis of what he does in Pakistan.
Yes. So again,
So, you know,
Rahane is an option.
Exactly my point. See, you mentioned a few names
Rahane.
apart from Shreyas Iyer and Venkatesh Iyer. The names that you mentioned, Ajinkya Rahane, Nitish Rana, even Sheldon Jackson for that matter. I'm talking about the Indians. I'm talking about the Indians. Nitish Rana, Sheldon Jackson. You know, if you take the very same players to any other team, they may not even figure in their 11.
Who? Nitish Rana, come on. Nitish Rana may find a spot. There are a lot of
May.
teams now. Now there are a lot of teams that are picking players, that we were looking at, making various teams. We are looking at
No, you
Indian
can't
batsmen.
be absolutely sure whether
True,
they
but
will.
this year I've seen a lot of teams are finding different Indian players to fit in, like Abhishek Sharma again. SRH is trying to fit him. Then I saw in Mumbai, you have that under 19 left-hand batsman that they've picked, who got that 100 in the under 19 Asia Cup. Names completely.
Tilak Verma? No.
Tilak Verma, correct. Yeah.
He, I think, will make it to the
That's what I'm
11.
saying. So you're trying to fit in a few players that are not like world class, or we don't know. They may be breakthrough players. So I think every team is fitting in, and so that logic, I think it's not bad. Nitish Rana, I think, has done well.
But they don't have a settled opening combination.
That I
At
agree.
least we
That I
are not
agree.
aware of.
That I agree.
Because you can have a Sunil Narine, you can have an Ajinkya Rahane, you can have
you could go with a Sam Billings. You can go with a Aaron Finch.
yes,
These are just options, but I think you will have.
In
to
fact, there are other options also, but you don't have an with absolute surety you can't say.
maybe if you go with Ajinkya Rahane, I think that would not be a bad move, and that way I could fit in Nabi into the team.
In place of
If you go Venkatesh
Aaron
Iyer and so like if there's no Aaron Finch as an opener, and you go with an Ajinkya, all Indian openers, Venkatesh Iyer and
no,
Ajinkya
Nikhil,
Rahane.
I think still you won't be able to.
No, then I'll tell you
Nabi.
the foreign players I've got: Andre Russell,
Right.
Sunil Narine,
Right.
Pat Cummins. That's it.
And Sam Billings.
No, I've not taken.
Then who will keep the wickets?
Yeah, Sam Billings will have to be there.
Exactly. So and
That's why I think I had
you
Sam
know
Billings in,
I thought
11.
they didn't have a clarity. That is what I think, because Sam Billings was also an afterthought. He was picked up at the auction towards the end.
Yes.
And so was
Yeah, they
Alex,
were not-
and so was Alex Hales,
correct.
who withdrew. Eventually,
Yes.
who withdrew, and Aaron Finch wasn't even picked at the auction, and he was drafted in as.
Then Nabi doesn't make it.
Exactly, Nabi doesn't make
I
it.
would
That's
have
the
liked
unfortunate part, that Nabi, irrespective of whether he plays for KKR or for Sunrisers Hyderabad, he doesn't make it to the 11 more often than not. And now Andre Russell, Sunil Narine, we know. Pat Cummins would be very important, because he would be the person, he would be the bowler around whom, although they have Sunil Narine and Varun Chakravarti, who make this bowling lineup look very good. But when it comes to pace bowling, Pat Cummins, that's it. Shivam Mavi, I know you mentioned about Shivam Mavi also. And if their top order doesn't work, they will not have the services
No,
of.
so that is why I thought I'll put Ajinkya Rahane with Venkatesh Iyer.
If you remember, when we made the playing 11, I actually suggested that you open with Ajinkya Rahane
and Venkatesh Iyer.
And Venkatesh
That
Iyer.
allows Nabi, na, then.
No.
I'll tell
you. Because if I remember correctly, you had Sheldon Jackson in your team.
Yes, I do have a Sheldon Jackson in my
Yes,
team.
I
So if I have got Sheldon Jackson, then I can put in a Nabi, na?
Yes, and unlike Sheldon Cottrell, he can keep wickets also.
That's
Sheldon
what I'm
Jackson.
saying. So that's what I'm saying. That is sorted. So if I go with Venkatesh Iyer, Ajinkya Rahane, Shreyas Iyer, no Sam Billings, Nitish Rana, Sheldon Jackson.
Now,
Yeah.
and look at this middle order then.
Andre Russell, Sunil Narine,
But
Pat Cummins. Till 8 you got batting here.
no, you've got batting till 8, and by
Yes.
the way, Pat Cummins may not be available.
No, that is a different thing. I'm just saying when
But okay, you can always just recall the history and tell me that last time they were on the brink of making an exit, but they came back. I'm saying, what
Yeah.
if they lose the momentum initially? In the absence of a Pat Cummins, in the absence of an Aaron Finch, who may not be available initially, just in case you lose the momentum, because on 5th, I think they have their last their one-off T20 on 5th of April, and then they'll come back here, maybe possibly on 6th. Then they'll do a quarantine also. Here.
No, they will miss Australian players, but I think that will be the same for every team. But yeah, they've got a bit more compared to others.
Yes.
So that is going to hamper their chances a bit. But you said yourself, they made a comeback from almost being dead and buried
Yes.
to the finals.
So this team still looks better than a lot of.
It
other
looks
teams.
better. I think it will give a fight for the playoff, but they just may miss out. So,
But middle order with the. Okay, you said if you open with Ajinkya Rahane, then even Nitish Rana doesn't make it to your 11.
no, he does.
He does?
Yeah,
Okay.
he does.
So I'm saying now Nitish Rana, Sam Billings, Andre Russell.
No, I've
Sunil
not got
Narine.
Sam Billings.
No,
Then-
now I'm saying,
Ha.
this middle order looks comparatively stronger than.
Maybe, yeah.
All right then.
On that note, before we go, reminder, don't forget to download the Gamezy app and in fact, you've got a link down below our video. Click on that and then download the app, because that will allow you to get a bonus, because Gamezy will add on that money for you to play. So do that, and it's the only app that allows you to make teams in the middle of the match as well, and multiple teams you can make. Every 5 overs you can play at different games, because these are 5 over blocks and you get prizes for that as well if you do very well. You stand a chance to win up to 5 crore daily. That's all that we have for you. Don't forget to subscribe to Sports Today.